Hello, BookTube. I've got some mail for you today on a bright, sunny winter Friday. It's way too mild, but at least Boston seems like it's going to be spared the 1-2 punch of weird, disruptive weather that looks like it's going to affect almost the rest of the country. But even if it were cloudy and rainy, it is supposed to be cloudy for the next 3 days here. It would still feel like a bright and sunny day because I had a breakthrough today through a combination of food bribery and pheromones and a few basic symbols common to most higher mammals. I was actually able to make a point to a home construction worker. Ordinarily, points bounce right off home construction workers, but I was actually able to make a point earlier today. I had a Helen Keller teacher moment where Helen Keller realizes that this is water. I had one of those basic breakthrough moments with a home construction person. Now, either that means that aspect of the work is going to happen in a better, more efficient, and much more timely way starting on Monday, or it means that person is going to lose their job as a home worker because they're obviously not qualified anymore. It's a happy occasion in any case, and we have a bunch of mail to go through. Who knows what might be of interest and might not be. We'll start with two books that were opened off camera that may be of interest before I stop myself and realize we need to open packages on camera. And one of them is a new Norton Critical Edition. Folks at WW Norton are always very nice to me. They are wonderful, wonderful people, and they know how much I love Norton Critical Edition. I have a whole collection of them here, which is a classic and then tons of supporting material in the back. So it's an education in a volume. Not coincidentally, it is often used for schools. But general readers, I've been saying this forever. Since Norton Critical Edition has existed, I've been saying the general readers get a huge amount out of them. You don't need to take this as a school. Often these are the best edition of a canonical work that you can get, because sometimes it happens that if you read a canonical work and then you think, okay, well, I know what my reactions to that were, and they were positive and they were negative, but I don't know what to think, so to speak. Not that you want to be told what to think, but I don't know where the discussion is on this. I don't know what the discussion is. I don't know what the contours of critical reaction or undergirding to this thing are now or ever have been. And absent the Norton Critical Edition, the most you will have to sort of sketch that in will be a critical introduction in a Penguin Classic or something like that. It certainly won't cover the whole ground. And with Norton Critical Editions, the minute you're finished with the text, you then get a banquet of that kind of critical discussion. This is one of the latest ones. This is the latest one they sent to me. This is The Wasteland and Other Poems by T.S. Eliot. We look at that. They finally have the ability to run the Wasteland, to run Eliot in a public domain reprint, with tons and tons of essays in the back. I was looking over the essays, quite a bit of stuff in here that I am a little surprised to find. If I have one criticism with the constantly changing critical background of a lot of Norton Critical Editions, it's that sometimes the editorial team seems a little bit too willing to throw out older essays merely because they're older, and make room for what is often more gibberish and jargony modern essays about the books in question. And that very much doesn't happen here. Cleanth Brooks is in here. Edmund Wilson is in here. Hugh Kenner is in here. Just towering essays about Eliot, who is a troublesome figure for me. Some of you may know. Some of you are Steve Donoghue completists who actually watch. Bean, what are you doing? Frida, stop that. Pay attention to all of my struggles with various books off stage. I had a year where I did a very slow and turned out very rewarding reread of all of the poems of W.H. Auden. I can call myself now not only familiar with Auden's work, but also a fan. But the year before that, I tried it with Eliot. I read everything, and I read everything slowly and with pencil in hand and very attentively, and I also read a ton of critical stuff. Ton of it, including a book by Dennis Donoghue. And it didn't really work. It didn't really work. I had already been told by the Boston historian Douglas Shantucci that this was a gigantic figure, that one of those literary figures where if you don't get it, it's certainly you and not them. Which is there's a group of such literary figures. I'm perfectly willing to admit they exist. I've been told many, many times by many, many people, including two of the people I've mentioned in this video so far, that this is one of those authors. But my most recent revisiting of his work did not yield him to me. Not in the way that Auden did. Not in the way that I would hope next year Larkin will do. So I will dig into this. I will read it backwards. I'll read the critical sections first, and then I'll reread The Wasteland and Other Poems, and we will see. Maybe. You never know. Then this next one, the title of it is going to make you think that it is still midterm elections season here in the United States, but it's not. Now that Georgia's absolutely farcical runoff is done, it is no longer campaign season in the United States. The midterms are now over. The midterms are over. So Georgia's lampoonish runoff election is over, and so we no longer have to deal with quite so much slime. This isn't that kind of slime. This isn't Ted Cruz. This is by Suzanne Wedlick, and it is Slime, A Natural History. The Telegraph calls it enjoyably icky. That is slime on the cover. And I haven't looked at this yet, but I'm going to assume this is the author trying to make a case for slime. So let's see. Let's find out together. Here, I'll hold this up. I'm a little bit unsure of my ergonomics in this corner of the little book room. Let's see here. Slime exists at the interfaces of all things, between the organs and the layers in our body, and between the earth and the air and the world. It is a key presence in the reproductive embrace of female and male, and is often produced in fatal encounters between predator and prey. There's a big, big danger with Komodo dragons, which are absolutely terrifying. You see them in nature documentaries and you think, oh, isn't it cool? Kind of like a miniature dragon alive in the world today. But in person, they are unbelievably terrifying. And slime is a big way that they kill their prey. They are fast, but they are only sprinters. And they are strong, but they are not as strong as everything. And their slime will kill you. The stuff that goes along, their bite is pretty formidable too, but the stuff that goes along with the bite is what will bring down prey and marinate it from the inside so that it's tastier and easier to eat. This book, which comes out, this comes out in late February, is a fascinating, groundbreaking book by journalist and biologist Suzanne Wedlick. Wedlick leads us on a scientific journey through the 3 billion year history of slime, from the part it played in the evolution of life on this planet to the way it might feature in the post-human future. And that first part is absolutely true. This was a planet of slime for billions of years before cellular life forms, before any kind of higher life form developed. If you had been an alien, you had visited Earth 3 billion years ago. First of all, a blue planet Mars would have been hanging in the sky, and almost certainly a blue planet Venus as well. But if you'd visited Earth, then your scientific response would have been, well, this is a planet absolutely teeming with life, but it's all slime. There aren't any actual animals. So we shall see. I'm always up for a look like this. Of course, the nerd in me wants it to be twice this long, but I will take what I'm going to get. But those were the two that I opened off camera. And then we have a bunch here of packages and a box that is refreshingly heavy. We'll have to figure out what it is. I'm trying to figure out, is it one huge advanced copy that I don't know anything about, or is it a bunch of books? But we'll get to that, and we'll save the box for last. So what is this first one? Oh, okay. All right, this is a novel. This is fiction. So this comes out in February as well. This is Iron Curtain, a love story by Vesna Goldsworthy. Let's see what we have here. A razor-sharp vision of two worlds on the brink of change amidst the failures of family and state. So is it the breakup of the Soviet Union? Is that it? Milena Urbanska is a red princess living in a Soviet satellite state in the 1980s. Oh, it could be the fall of the Berlin Wall. She enjoys limitless luxury and limited freedom, and the end of the Cold War seems unimaginable. You and me both, sister. When she meets Jason, a confident but politically naive British poet, they fall into bed together. Before long, Milena is planning her escape. She follows Jason to London, where she's shocked to find herself living in bohemian poverty. The rented apartment is dingy, the food disgusting. Well, you knew that right there on the passport. And Jason's family withholding. Well, okay, they're British, aren't they? The bad food and the withholding family. I don't know what you're expecting here. But at least there are no hidden cameras recording her every move. As she adjusts to her new life, however, Milena discovers the dark side of Jason's idea of freedom. Okay, all right, great. Well, it sounds really good, except for that last line. And the last line has me wondering if this author is going to have her main character come to the conclusion that sure, the repressive Soviet state was bad, but the patriarchy is much worse. There is not a single person in Milena's position in the setting of this novel who would not have wanted to emigrate, to defect, is what we used to call it. That gets me going there. Is the horrifying secret that she's going to learn about Jason that he expects her to cook food, or I don't know, to be a stereotypical 1980s girlfriend. I'm probably being ultra defensive. We will find out together in February. We have this next package here. Trying very hard not to spill things, because the ergonomics of this corner mean that if anything that's spilled will be lost forever. There will be no way to reclaim it. What have we here? Oh, great. Oh, fantastic. I don't have a sheet for this? No, I don't. I emailed the publicist about this, or rather, the publicist emailed me, and if the book sounds good, I'll definitely take it. Actually, not most, all of the publicists who email me understand how the game is played. They understand the rules. I noticed that quite a few publicists who only deal with TikTok and YouTube don't sometimes know how the game is played. They indulge instead in this free copy in exchange for an honest review nonsense that is co-opting you into the publicity campaign of a book by challenging you to be honest, which you'll be anyway. But most of the publicists who email me understand, look, here's the book. I'll describe it. If I know you, and I know quite a few of them, they will tell me if they've read it and really liked it. A lot of them have. That often means a lot to me. I keep track of which publicists have taken home a galley of a book, read it, couldn't put it down, and add that as a note to their email to me. The form email will be there, often with an e-book, an e-copy of the book. But in addition to that, there'll often be a note saying, I read this one, and boy, oh boy, it is wonderful. I can't wait to hear what you'll think of it. So if somebody does that, I'm certainly going to say yes. This is Sally Brady's Italian Adventure by Christina Lynch. I presume that is Sally Brady, although that's not the outfit for walking in the Italian countryside. We don't have a sheet on this, so we'll just read this is an advance copy. This comes out in June. This comes out in mid-June. Let's see here. With the war engulfing Europe, an effervescent young American party girl leaves behind her glamorous life in Rome and uses her wiles and humor to save her imperiled friends. So we've gone from Milena, who was also a party girl and pampered, to Sally Brady, I assume is the character's name. What if you found yourself in the middle of a war armed only with lipstick and a sense of humor? You'd end up married to Deb. That's what would happen. Abandoned as a child in Los Angeles in 1931, Dust Bowl refugee Sally Brady convinces a Hollywood movie star to adopt her and grows up to be the effervescent gossip columnist secretly satirizing Europe's upper crust. By 1940, saucy Sally is conquering fascist-era Rome with cheek and charm. A good deed leaves Sally stranded in wartime Italy, brandishing a biting wit, a fake passport, and an elastic sense of right and wrong. All right, okay, Steve is intrigued. To save her friends and find her way home through a land of besieged castles and villas, Sally must combat tragedy with comedy, tie up pompous bureaucrats in their own red tape, force the cruel to be kind, and unravel the mystery, weight, and meaning of her family. Heir to Odysseus's wiles and Candide's optimism, Sally Brady is a heroine for the 21st century. Oh my God. All right. All right. Sally Brady's Italian Adventure. Seems like it's just begging to be made into a movie, but that'll be yours in the summer. Then we have some cardboard. Two of these cardboard packages, before we get to the box, are these big stamped things that are just done on a conveyor belt, but they're very, very light. They're full-sized, but they're very, very light. And this sparked a tiny hope in Steve's heart that they may be romance mass-market paperbacks. I don't know why I'm thinking that. You'd think that a manila envelope would be the better way to do a romance mass-market paperback, but that is what I would like them to be. I haven't had a romance in the mail in a week. Okay, I was right about the first one. It is romance mass market paperback. Don't know why I thought that. So this comes out this comes out on December 27th. This comes out on the 27th of December. That is the end of the year. Everyone is gone from their desks. Everyone is gone from their offices until 2 weeks from then. December 27th is too late to get on anybody's year-end lists. It's too late to get in any of the holiday gift guide features that every newspaper editor is running. Oh. And it's Kate Bateman. It's one of my favorite romance authors. Okay, this is a Ruthless Rivals novel. This is A Wicked Game. We see a classic Regency cover there with the carved, the stonework and the flowers and the very subtle, not so subtle blue covering all around there, and the portico, the little temple in the background there. What's different about this cover is that the man is in military uniform. It's unless I very much read this wrong, it is an incorrect military uniform, but still, does that mean he's not a member of the landed gentry? Maybe she is. This comes out on December 27th. Oh, that just slays me. That just slays me. My best romances of the year list, which is the only best romance of the year list you should pay attention to, is up already. Anyway, let's see. If there's one thing that's impossible for a Davies to resist, it's a challenge from a Montgomery. Oh, The Reckless Rivals. I read at least one book in this series, and it was really, really good. Oh, we'll have to check when we're done. We'll check. The covers are probably on the inside cover here. Shipwrecked and imprisoned thanks to an incorrect map, Captain Morgan Davies has returned to London to exact sweet revenge on the cartographer responsible for his suffering. Not your captors. You want to take revenge on the cartographer who made the map wrong. And that must be him. That must be why he's wearing what the cover artist assumed is a period correct naval officer's uniform. That must be it. He's also vowed to claim the winner's prize, 3 kisses, in a bet he made with his longtime nemesis, the prickly, smart-mouthed Harriet Montgomery. His incarceration has clarified his feelings for her, but convinced the infuriating woman he wants to marry her is going to be the greatest challenge yet. When Harriet's revealed to be the very map maker he seeks, naturally, Morgan decides to combine revenge and seduction into one delightful package. Okay. Well, it might come out too late for any kind of year-end list, but as a rarity for books that I'll be getting in the mail in the next 3 weeks, I can read this tonight. It's a 2022 release. Oh no, we don't have covers. Okay, well, you tell me which ones? A Reckless Match and a Daring Pursuit. I think I read both of those. I think they're on the bookcase, the romance bookcase directly in front of me. All right, well, you romance fans, this is going to be out soon, and it's the very end of the year. I'm assuming that December 27th is a Tuesday. Is that right? So Wednesday would be 28th, Thursday the 29th, Friday the 30th, Saturday the 31st. So Sunday, Christmas Day, or New Year's Day. Either way, no one is anywhere, no one in the book business is anywhere around, but readers will still be around, although they'll be probably shopping at different bookstores than they usually do. I know that I've read at least one book in this series, and it was delightful. The rivalry between the two families reminded me. So, a wicked game. He wants to take his revenge on a cartographer. Haven't we all wanted to do that at one time or other? And then we have this other sort of flat, vacuum pressed package that is also very light. Could it be? Am I lucky enough so that this is another romance? That would be awesome. Let's see. Oh, this is a trade paperback. What have we got here? Oh, well, no. I think Sarah at the Bookish Knitter would probably classify this closer to chick lit than romance. I don't know. This comes out in May. It's a trade paperback. It comes out in May, and it is called Bad Summer People by Emma Rosenblum. The bullseye as a beach hat or whatnot. Okay. I don't have. There's no sheet in here. This comes out in May, and it's a debut. Oh, how wonderful! Bad Summer People is Emma Rosenblum's debut. Fantastic. Jen Weinstein and Lauren Parker rule the town of Salcombe, Fire Island, every summer. They hold sway on the beach and the tennis court and are adept at manipulating people to get what they want. Their husbands, Sam and Jason, have summered together on the island since childhood, despite lifelong grudges and numerous secrets. If Sam and Jason have been summering on Fire Island since they were young, I bet I know one of those secrets. Their one single friend, Rachel Wolfe, is looking to meet her match, whether he's the tennis pro or someone else's husband. But even with plenty to gossip about, the season starts out as quietly as any other, until a body is discovered, face down, off the side of the boardwalk. Stylish, subversive, and darkly comedic, this is a story of what's lurking under the surface of picture-perfect lives in a place where everyone has something to hide. Oh, except Sam and Jason, for Pete's sake. It's Fire Island. Anyway, maybe not. Maybe times have changed. All right, so Bad Summer People comes out right on the doorstep of actual summer. So I did get at least one romance, mass market romance in the mail. That's great. And that is, of course, a dream come true. But another dream come true is to get a box of books from my favorite non-Penguin publisher, which is W.W. Norton. W.W. Norton and Liverite. I love them. Absolutely love them. And this is a box from them, and it's quite heavy. Now, Norton doesn't shy away, and Liverite especially doesn't shy away from big, big books. They're perfectly happy to do that. But I would have thought that I knew what was coming, and that they can't sneak one by me, as it were. And this is a pretty heavy box. So it is either a really big review copy or it's many books. Let's take a look at what we have here. Oh, it's many books. Oh, fantastic! And there's on Earth. Oh, somebody just put a padded manila envelope in there as packing. Well, this is packing I can reuse. I send out these things all the time. But it's a box of Nortons. Oh, fantastic. All right, so we started off with a Norton Critical Edition, but now we have Norton trade releases, and that's always good by me, always. So what have we got here? Let's see. Okay, the first one is Roman History for the new year. These will probably all be the new year. This is April. This is by Jane Draycott. It's from Liverite, looks like. Yeah. It's by Jane Draycott, who is a lecturer in ancient history at the University of Glasgow. And this is Cleopatra's Daughter, From Roman Prisoner to Egyptian Queen. What have we got here? All right, so the advanced copy already has artwork, but no sheath. No sheet at all. So let's just read the back here. Years ago, archaeologists excavating near Pompeii unearthed a hoard of Roman treasures, among them a bowl depicting a woman with thick, curly hair and sporting an elephant scalp headdress. For decades, theories circulated about her identity until at last she was ascertained to be Cleopatra Selene, the only surviving daughter of the Roman triumvir Mark Antony and Egyptian queen Cleopatra VII. Using this discovery as her starting point and creating a narrative from mere fragments in the archaeological record, historian Jane Draycott reconstructs the exceptional life of this woman who, although born into royalty and raised in her mother's court, was held captive by Augustus Caesar and his sister Octavian after her parents' demise. Yet, as Draycott shows, Cleopatra Selene was destined to emerge as an influential ruler in her own right. as queen alongside King Juba II of Mauritania, an ancient African kingdom. A long overdue historical corrective, Cleopatra's daughter reclaims a mighty regent and her infamous family for posterity. Okay. Ancient Egypt, probably going to make its way to James Holder at some point. Then we have the finished copy, again with no sheet. Again with no sheet. The finished copy of a book that intrigued a lot of you when we saw the advanced copy. We saw 2 copies of the advanced copy. This is by Jamie Kreiner, who is a professor of history at the University of Georgia. And it is The Wandering Mind. What medieval monks tell us about distraction. So let's do this again. It's been a while since we saw the advanced copy. Quite a few of you are new to the channel now. The digital era is beset by distraction, and it feels like things are only getting worse. Unless you were to, control yourself, in which case, no. So it is a little surprised that the distant past beckons as a golden age of attention. We fantasize about escaping our screens. We dream of recapturing the quiet world of a world with less noise. We imagine retreating into solitude and single-mindedness, almost like latter-day monks. But although we think of early monks as master concentrators, a life of mindfulness did not, in fact, come easily to them. As historian Jamie Kreiner demonstrates in this book, their attempts to stretch the mind out to God, to continuously contemplate the divine order and its ethical requirements, were all-consuming, and their battles against distraction were never-ending. Delving into the experiences of Christian monks living in the Middle East, around the Mediterranean, and throughout Europe from 300 to 900 CE, Kreiner shows that these men and women were obsessed with distraction in ways that seem remarkably modern. At the same time, she suggests that our own obsession is remarkably medieval. I like that. Whoever wrote this copy earned their keep. Ancient Greek and Roman intellectuals had sometimes complained about distraction, but it was early Christian monks who waged an all-out war against it. The stakes could not have been higher. They saw distraction as a matter of life and death. So I have the same question getting the finished copy. I think this is a January release. I don't have a sheet for it, but I'm pretty sure I remember that. But I have the same questions getting the finished copy for you as I had when we got both of the advanced copies, which is, how's the state of your own distraction? Are you in any kind of control over your attention span? I'm curious to know, always. And then this thing. Oh, this is nice. Oh, my. Oh, it's not what I thought at all. It's a graphic novel. Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. This is Last on His Feet, Jack Johnson and the Battle of the Century. Art by Yusuf Dodi and poetics by Adrian Matejka. Look at that cover. Should have known better. It's such an unconventional cover. It's a graphic novel. There aren't any poetics. It's prose. I'm assuming that the poetics falderall was the author just saying, no, if you say that it's prose instead of poetics, you are a racist. I'm assuming that that's the case. I can't imagine. Whenever I encounter weird, obviously wrong terminology, it always boils down to that. It always boils down to Twitter politics. That if you don't make this mistake intentionally because I tell you to, then you have a long, systematic, personal bias against an entire group of people. But just in case you're wondering, you can look at this. This is a graphic novel. There are no poetics. It's just a graphic novel. It's pictures and words, but it looks really good. Let's see what we have here. Oh no, we've got blurbs on the back. Lots of blurbs. Great. What about a description? Okay, we do have a description. Let's see here. On the morning of July 4th, 1910, thousands of rabid fans stormed a newly built stadium in Reno, Nevada to bear witness to, quote, the battle of the century. At the height of the Jim Crow era, Jack Johnson, the world's first black heavyweight champion, the most infamous athlete in the world because of his race, was paired against Jim Jeffries, a former heavyweight champion that then heralded as the, quote, Great White Hope, who could restore the racial hierarchy that Johnson had shattered. Offering front row seats to this historic showdown, artists Yusuf Dodi and poet Adrian... Oh, he's a poet. Okay. Adrian Matejka interspersed dramatic boxing action with vivid flashbacks to reveal how Johnson, the self-educated son of emancipated slaves, reached the pinnacle of sports, all while facing down a racist justice system. Through the legerdemain of breathtaking illustrations and soul-numbing verse... Okay, but you don't want your verse to numb the soul, do you? Oh, but does that mean there is verse in here? Did I just miss it? The way the pages are laid out, Okay, see, the way the pages are laid out, I kind of assumed that this was just where the text would go. But maybe maybe the author intends that to be verse. I mean, this is certainly prose. I don't know. I'll have to, that's interesting. Let's see here. So soul-numbing prose. I'm hoping it's not soul-numbing verse. I'm hoping that it's soul-exciting verse. Soul-stimulating would be the opposite of soul-numbing. This book restores dignity to a contentious civil rights figure who has for more than a century been denied his proper due. I had no idea. I don't know why. When I saw advance notice of this in catalogs, I was just blurring out the fact that there was art. It was right there on the cover. I was instead concentrating on the fact that I've read a book about Jack Johnson in, well, I don't think I've ever read a book devoted to him. I've read segments. He's in segments of books on the history of boxing. He's in segments of books about Jim Crow. But this is a whole graphic novel devoted. Look at that. Very nice. Very nice. Devoted to this figure and the bout of the century. Fantastic. Okay, well, Norton didn't let me down in a number of ways. We started and ended with Norton not letting me down. So we have Last on His Feet, Jack Johnson and the Battle of the Century. We have the finished copy of The Wandering Mind. I think a December release, pretty sure. We have Cleopatra's Daughter, a full-scale biography of Cleopatra Selene. We have Bad Summer People, a debut by this author. How exciting! We have I don't want to do that, do I? We have Sally Brady's Italian Adventure, which invokes Candide. Those are going to be tough culottes to fill. Then we have Iron Curtain by Vesna Goldsworthy. We have Slime, a history of slime. You don't know all there is to know about slime. Neither do I. Maybe we could both stand to hold our nose and read the book. Then the Norton Critical Edition of The Wasteland and Other Poems. Fascinating. Just fascinating to see that in the Norton Critical line. And finally, A Wicked Game by Kate Bateman, which is the third in a series of romances that are... I've read at least one, and it was really, really enjoyable. Very fun. Very, very brisk. It comes out on the 27th of December, but you could still... That's still a day. You can still read. It's just... It won't get the attention that it deserves outside of the dedicated press. The dedicated romance reviewing sites and journals and whatnot will do it. But you hope that it will end up on a list, right? On a year-end list. Fortunately, it's not out of the running for me. If I get books egregiously late like this, I move them over to the next year. I'm not quite so doctrinaire about things. So if a book came to me on the 31st or the 27th or whatever, I will just consider it a book for the next year. But I still get to read it tonight. It and the Wasteland are the only ones of these that I will read tonight. But that's better than nothing. I'm sure that days with nothing are coming. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. That was the mail for today, but I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.